So, hello viewers, thanking you for watching again. This is our second conversation with Antara Paul, learning, listening to her, walking alongside her, and learning from her experience. Hello, Antara. Appreciating
Hello.
your taking time and joining us again. I really have no words to thank you, but yes, I do. It's
Thank you very much for inviting me for this conversation. Thank you.
It's so important for all of us. Last time you shared that it was your belief in resilience that was a guiding force throughout your journey. What has been the balancing and delivering work, around family responsibilities? Did you feel the pressure as compared, like when we are following up from last time where we left? So did you feel the pressure as compared to back home?
Yes, um, yes. The most hard time I had here after immigration was I felt the gender hierarchies. That's the most important thing I felt here. My activities were restricted outside of home. I bear heavier load than my partner in balancing the work and family here. So it was a very hard thing for me compared to back in country. Definitely. Yes, I felt the pressure.
Yeah, I can understand. We all do. We all do. So, how did the home culture evolve with all this going on? Did you get opportunities to interact with people from other cultures? How comfortable you felt, kind of talking about yourself with them?
It's a very heavy topic. And before I start anything, I would apologize if I get a little emotional because as this is a very emotional and very heavy subject for me, very heavy, heart-touching thing. Yes, like all other immigrants, women, I also land in this beautiful country with glorious dreams. Some are very lucky to pursue those, some are not. Their silence leaves others in the dark. Their silence leaves them in a world of violence, abuse, financial burden, and apathy. Their beautiful dreams get shattered. Within days of landing every day since then, it's a nightmarish experience for them.
Yeah,
For me, sorry, before starting,
take
I'm
it.
getting,
Yeah,
um,
take it. Breathe. I'm really sorry. It's
for, for
difficult.
outer world, all was happy in my life. I had accepted the fact and admitted that I was pretending, and that was the only way to hide, sorry, um, my shame, and more importantly, to survive. Um, it was uh, it was my duty to lie, as in my mind there was no way out. You know, I was living in a nightmare, and then tell the outside world that um, everything is fine because I'm so embarrassed and riddled with guilt and worried that nobody is going to believe me. Over the prior decade, my life had become an elaborate lie. My experience was very terrifying. Abuser used to direct me whom I need to talk and what sentence or wording I need to talk with others. He had brainwashed me and made me believe that no one is going to believe me. I was worried about the shame I thought it would bring on me, and no one going to believe me. No one is going to trust me what I'm sharing, what I'm telling them. In my mind, there was no way out. My self-esteem, I have no self-esteem left. I felt so much self-hate. I would lie to so many people, authorities. I felt very angry that I would let that person get away with all that for many years. I knew very little about domestic abuse because I came from a different family background and was brought up in a very liberal family and always have seen my dad and mom working together, and my dad helping my mom with the daily chores. For immigrant women similar like me, I was also an immigrant woman. It's very hard because they always depend on the partner. And even though I don't have that one language barrier, but still there is there is a barrier, and lots of women have language barrier, and they don't work. So this is a very sometimes gets hard to come out, to get comfortable, to do anything in this situation.
Yeah, cultures can create some conflict with a person internally. You kind of live a world of duality. Like you said, outside is different, inside is different,
Yeah.
and there is a time that you really need to break free from that. So, were there friends to support around? Did you feel kind of being judged? What was your reaction, and how did you deal with it? Like, what was your approach?
The society from where I came from, Asian, this subject is a very taboo, and a huge stigma is attached to it. And many women don't talk about domestic violence because of the judgmental mentality of the society, family and friends. And it's I was also in the same situation. you know I got judged, shamed and discriminated and hated by people, and still I get it. It's not um, that because I came out and I have lived like 10 years or 9 years, still I get it. I was a topic of the dining table. Interestingly, this community on this side of the developed world supported the abuser and his philosophy. And it was a very sad seeing those things for me. Like, we can't believe, like, we have a belief that this is a country where people thoughts are different, but unfortunately it's not true.
Yeah.
But you know what, I'm really fortunate and blessed. There were few friends who have gone out of their way and without any fear of others and society. They have welcomed me and my son to their home, drove me around to police stations, drove my son to the daycare, drove me around to lawyer appointment, and stayed with me as a pillar of strength during the entire 6 to 7 years of my long court battle. If they were not there, then me and my son didn't have survived today. And I won't be able to sit here and share my story with you. So I'm very fortunate in that way. I can tell that there were a handful of friends who have really supported me.
Yeah, I really thank you, Antara, for coming a long way and your courage to share with us. And there are so many of different people, different communities, could be both men and women who are watching this. They are going through some phases, and this will definitely help them to come out of their shell, like this is so important and so common. It's not unusual, and yet we are struggling with it on day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
And what was your victory here, like about overcoming traditional barriers or letting them be and inviting the fresh light? or just cast them aside or step them, or like just walking in a new space? What was it like?
Um, it seems like the simplest thing, get up and leave. But when you have got kids involved, there is other coercive control that comes on top of it. Abuser always scared the victim with, the words are always, it's the same thing, same language for all the abusers. I'm going to take your kids away because that's their only weapon. I'm going to tell everyone that you are not a good mother. That those type of words, when you are dealing with so much thing, that really affects the victim. The fear of losing child is a huge trauma for the victim.
Yeah.
In my case, after after with so many years of abuse, finally I have gathered the courage to leave, because otherwise I would have ended up dead. I came out, I seek help from police, and from there it was no turning back. I fought back. There were so many things that have an, even still right now, after effect that will probably be on for my entire life. But you can't erase those kind of traumas, because those are traumas that are there on your head, that are there on your mind. But I know now that I am safe with my son. That's the peace. When I go to bed, I know that I'm sleeping on my own home, own place, and I'm safe. My son is with me, and we all are safe here. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that's what it is there, and that's what I did, just to come out to keep my son and myself safe.
Yeah, yeah. So these dormant fears still show up, and layer by layer. How do you kind of deal with them, peeling them off, and looking at them again and again? How are you going with it?
Domestic violence and abuse at the hands of abuser and their families are not unusual things to the immigrant woman. It's a crime like no other. It's an assault on trust, on respect, on their right. Feeling from an abusive family, it's not as easy as picking up the phone and calling the police. The fear, the shame, lack of support from society, lack of financial strength to be um, on her own as significant obstacles faced by many, many immigrant women. And those with children are far more fearful because of the children, right?
Yeah,
The abuser is always supported by his families, often uses children as a remote to control the victim. And that's mostly the case. They use the children as a remote to control and to scare the victim.
yeah,
It is not unusual for such people try to misuse the social security system towards their goal to further harass the victim. In our culture, in a culture that is still hesitant to acknowledge the prevalence of violence against women, our own communities often treat the victim with harsh criticism. So it's very, very hard. It's very hard for the woman.
yeah, yeah. So these kind of, it's difficult. I really empathize, and these thoughts still surface. And how do you face and let go of them again and again? Generally, as we see you, you're so high spirited, such wonderful talents like dancing, and you're on the social media doing so many wonderful activities for charity, supporting charities, serving seniors, just in your free time, you're doing so much. So how do you let go of all these thoughts, as in while you're doing your work and daily life, going on with it?
First of all, thank you very much. You know, uh, at the beginning, it was very hard to prove the abuse actually occurred. And even I showed the courage, break all the barriers, and came out from the abusive relationship. Another set of struggles waited for me. The battles to get custody of my child, of my own son, to get a divorce, and the list are so on are the endless and exhausting. I need to prove myself, my motherly instinct, my motherly affection to get the custody of my own child. Family law states it acts in the best interest of the child. How does the law, this is a question I always ask, how does the law code determine the child's best interest when the abusive partner manipulates the system? So the women suffer again. The pain, agony, uncertainty, and the struggles those unfortunate women have to go through are are never ending. And because of all this, thousands and thousands of women are living every day in an abusive relationship. I always question, is this the society we are giving to our women? You know, for me, when I came out and I found back, my son is my energy.
Yeah.
When I feel weak, my strength, my courage, he's my everything. Every day, he gives me the courage and strength to fight back, not only for me, but for him too. When people ask me how I stay strong, and I always tell it's because my son does not let my crown fall.
Yeah.
For him, I am the queen.
Yeah,
So that keeps me going.
that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful, despite of the fact that the system, kind of moves on a winding road. It goes here and there and diversifies and bifurcates and sends you back in a loop. It needs determination, but more than that, you need a community. How do
Yeah.
you feel about the community?
Uh, the community, it's as I have mentioned, it's a winding road, but finally, after so many years, I have gathered courage to tell my story about domestic abuse so that the other women don't suffer in silence. And I always plead and request other women, please come out and reach out for help. Reach out to police, talk to someone whom you trust and get the help. And this is your life, your children's lives, and children's are our future nation. And especially I came out right now also more, even though I came out long time back and I talk about domestic violence and I support women fleeing from domestic violence. But today I felt like I need to talk out. I need to talk out and I need to speak out my battle, because in the last year or so, the pandemic has heightened everything. Domestic violence almost doubled during the COVID-19 pandemic. 1 in 3 women globally, around 736 million, are subjected to physical violence. The first thing is to educate ourselves about the domestic abuse. For domestic abuse survivor, I would request everyone and the society, please show some patience, caring, and try not to be judgmental, because you don't know what the other person is going through or from where she came from. So please take care. Please listen to the person and don't be judgmental.
Yeah, Antara, I'm so grateful for your, gathering all the courage to share all this and your thoughts. These are very, very important for each one of us, every person in the community. We should be aware and should take responsibility for all what's going on. Everyone is responsible in a way, either, through their own behavior, attitude, and how they choose to respond to this kind of a, message that comes across in their lives. So, Antara, I want to ask you one more thing, one last thing before we go. Do you want to give 2 or 3 steps that might open a pathway for somebody who is stuck in a situation, to regain courage to move forward?
From my heart, I always want to tell, and I always want to give this message is, I know it's very hard for me sitting down here and tell anything and everything, but it's very important. This is the high time, right? It's very important. It needs determination for sure, but community also need to come out and support the domestic abuse survivor. It's so important right now. You don't I would like to add to this one for all the domestic abuse survivor or anyone who is facing right now and don't have the courage to speak up or don't have the courage to come out. You don't need to scare. You need to know that you are in a country where system will support you, but you need to come out and take the first step. You need to come out and help and take the first step, then only others can help you out. I always tell, always remind yourself that fear is not always helpful. Remember, fear can harm you and, very importantly, your children. So please come out, speak up, reach out to police. They are there to help you out. That's all my message is for everyone.
Thank you so much, Antara, for being there and sharing, everything with us so courageously, with so much of determination. I really wish you all the best. Lots of love, lots of hugs. Now we are talking via Zoom, so I can't physically hug you, but definitely lots of hugs and many, many blessings. And I'm sure you will lead many other women to success. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all your love and care. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.